Baylor's quarterback, DeQuan Finn's played a lot of football. Very versatile, a lot of passing yards, a lot of rushing yards. Is there a comparable that you have played? You played some pretty good quarterbacks that are good in the run game and the pass game. I'm wondering if there's any comparisons to be made in someone that you faced.
Give me a second. Yeah, I'd say, you think back to who we faced at UNLV last year, in Boise State, and yet this guy is just the quickness, and probably he's able to earn even more money on the open market, when it comes to maybe the guy that left Boise State and went to Arkansas, just because of both, just the ability to throw and just the way he hurts people as a runner too.
You don't play many games in high heat, high humidity. Hawaii would be humid, I suppose, but not 100. It sounds like kickoff temperature is 95, high humidity. Are you doing anything at practice, and how do you prep for that, or is that just something that you just kind of ride when you get there?
I think one of the advantages we do have conditioning-wise is we are at altitude. I mean, certainly you need to be conscious, just conscious of your electrolytes, your fluid intake, and yet candidly, a good number of our guys have been at high heat, high humidity. I think by and large, when you look at the guys that play for us, when they go home in the summer, we only have a few Colorado guys. We try to have as many as we can, so we might have a couple from, a few from the West Coast, but by and large, you look at our team, we're from the Central and the Eastern time zone, and especially the stretch, Texas and the South and Georgia. These guys have been around that.
Coach, when it comes to your offense, is it just maybe a little bit of a lack of experience, or is it just something else?
Just need to keep playing and practicing.
Mm-hmm. What is your biggest concern then when it comes to generating offense, generating points then?
Like I said, you need time and grade, if you will, and the number of quality repetitions that you create in practices. And you need games. That was plural with an S.
I think it was after one of the games you said we need to focus on Air Force. When you look at a normal schedule at this point in the season, are you still inwardly focused more than you would be in other years, where maybe at this point you're starting to put more emphasis?
I don't think so. I think you always got to work on your own squad. And certainly we need to do that this year. Not just this week, but throughout this, and probably throughout the entire season.
Do you see any similarities to where you were last year at this point? Because when you went to Sam Houston, the offense was also kind of struggling to.
I don't, just because I think if you looked at last year, the five guys up front had played. I mean, we aren't even in the same area code. Golly, E-Man Michelle had played a bunch of football, and John Lee Eldridge had played a bunch of football. All five of those, whoever, the top 7 out of the 5 spots, the O-line, Caleb Real, it's a different conversation, honestly.
What did you see that you liked? I mean, are you guys close, or you still feel like you're not quite there?
Effort. I thought our effort was really, really good. The competitiveness, that part, yeah. It's not a given. I don't think it's automatic, but that part of it, just the will and the drive, you just got to get where you operate. We need more at-bats, just bottom line.
What's the biggest key to being successful against Baylor then?
You just got to keep finding growth, in the way that we play. And, if you have a bunch of plays where maybe you say, all right, if it's a defensive play to say, all right, we're in really good shape here. 9 of our guys of 11 are in really, really good shape, but if there's a 10th that has the wrong leverage, can we get that 10th guy in really good shape too? And obviously you'd like to have more snaps where it's 11 out of 11 too.
Defensively, were you encouraged by the pass rush and the way the secondary was kind of able to adjust after that first quarter?
Oh, we did make some strides that way. Now, who we're facing this week, it's a different world, candidly. I mean, just size, movement. I mean, it's these guys physically. This is an extremely impressive group that we're going to face, and so some of the tests on your pass rush, you're just going against bigger, thicker, longer offensive linemen. You know, same thing at the receiver part of it. How fast these guys get down the field, and I think the other part is the elusiveness of a really accurate quarterback too. And you look at this guy's background, the number of games that he's played as a quarterback, the sheer volume, the amount of production that he had at Toledo. This is a really talented player.
Leadership-wise, offensively, do you see like guys kind of stepping up, emerging? Because obviously it is a young group, whole new offensive line. Is there guys trying to step up and lead this group?
Absolutely, you know, and it's through your work ethic, your practice habits, how you lift, most certainly.
What are some of the things that Baylor did well? I mean, they spotted Utah a pretty big lead, but then really probably owned that game going forward. What did they do differently, or what changed that they were able to play so well against the Utes?
Well, I think, you know, you look at them defensively. Boy, they have really good players. I think that was the part that was so impressive, was just physically how well their defense matched up against Utah, because Utah is extremely stout. And then I think more than anything else, you start seeing some of the, you know, you have guys that have played a lot of football at receiver and at quarterback. You know, they got a bunch of background there yet for those guys to play together. You know, that was their second game to play together.
Like a lot of spots on your team, guys are filling some pretty big shoes at the inside linebacker positions. What's your assessment of Osaro and Grant and the way that they've played?
You know, I think I could see us going forward, getting a good number of snaps with those two. Plus, I think Luke Fisher plays some too. You know, he was out there last week, and going forward he will be also. And you know, I think the biggest thing is just realizing it is a different test than any. You know, the first two games were so good for our guys to play across the board. I mean, certainly we're talking about defense here, where this week just movement and running the ball and bigger offensive linemen and backs that get on top of you. This will be a huge test.
How much personnel assessment are you still doing in terms of, you know, figuring out what the right combination might be, especially versus, again,
We do it
other
every
years?
day. Every year, every day we do that.
Would you anticipate more than normal this season just because?
I don't, no. Just because we always do that frequently.
And with as often as Baylor's running the ball, when you faced them, 2 years ago, were they this off balance in terms of run heavy?
Clearly, you can see the commitment that's involved that way to run the ball. Really, they have three backs that are very involved, and each one brings something a little bit different. You know, whether one's moves exceptionally well, having a bigger back, and I think the other part is the threat of the quarterback as a ball carrier too.
Obviously, you see a lot of running attacks. I mean, at least 2 a year. Is this a completely different situation because what they can also do vertically that you can't sell out to?
Not close. Yeah, absolutely. And it's just a whole different structure in terms of what your sight lines are. And yes, it is different.
You know, your team has won, I believe, 5 in a row against Power 5, teams. Is there something about these weeks that brings a different kind of, excitement or focus? And do you get a little bit hyped up about that opportunity?
No. I mean, I'll tell you this. Are you eager to play every week? Absolutely you are. And it's different, right? Every week is different. So, I mean, that part of it, I mean, the competitive and the juices, and that, I mean, I think that's not a sometime thing, and that's not a most of the time item either. So I don't know if I can say, is it different? It absolutely is different. Every game is.
Can you understand from a player's perspective? Because most of your guys didn't have Power 5 offers, and a lot of them over the years I've talked to felt like maybe they should have. There's a little chip on their shoulder that they seem to carry with them. Do you think there's a certain satisfaction that comes from getting these opportunities?
I don't think we're take it personal. I got to tell you, I got a chip on my shoulder. I mean, that's just not the character of our guys as human beings. And I think sometimes do we want to kind of draw that out because there's an emotional ping to it, probably a narrative. There is, right? And yet you want to play good football each game that you do play. Now, naturally, you're talking about did one sideline offer another guy on the other sideline? Maybe not. One, that might be on the high end. And we're all aware of that, I think, by and large.
All right, Quinn, how's kind of the confidence of the offense after this past week and just the film study you guys have been doing?
So obviously, not the result we wanted. A little disappointed in the outcome. But I think, after talking to a lot of the guys, that we're looking forward for this week. We're ready to kind of keep growing. Like Coach Calhoun said, basically we're going to focus on Air Force this week. So,
With focusing on Air Force, is there things that you believe you guys have done well, and what areas does your position group need to improve on?
Yeah, so I think, obviously we have a young group, but I think we're doing well as far as, holding each other accountable. We're doing good on the perimeter. As far as my position group, obviously, winning one-on-ones is huge. Deep balls down the field, that's how we operate our offense. We hit them in the mouth, punch them in the mouth, punch them in the mouth, and then, sneak one by them. So, basically having that, offense come together and be able to, push it down the field and then slip one by them. So that's a huge key for my position group in particular.
How you doing, Quinn?
How's it going?
Is it one of those things where, like, you can see everything playing out in practice and executing the way you guys want, and then maybe it not translating to game day?
So, yeah, I think we definitely see a lot of things that start creeping up in practice. And I think right now those are the same things that are kind of biting us in the game. So right now we're definitely trying to focus on that, hone in on those things, and definitely those are points of focus on, we got to improve here. Definitely, in the interior, the run game, that's huge. So, yeah.
As a competitor, how much are you looking forward to playing a school like Baylor, Power 5 conference?
It's super exciting. Got to travel a little bit my freshman year. Played them in that bowl game out in Fort Worth. So it was exciting. We know they're a good team. We're familiar with their game. The conference, all the skill that comes with that. But, we're looking forward to it, and it's just another week for us. So.
Is it just another week? I mean, you guys have won 5 in a row against Power 5 teams, and I know that I've seen all of those games, and
Right.
there was a lot of excitement in those moments. Like, is there something extra special about playing up a little bit?
Of course, at the end of the day, this is kind of what we all wanted. We want to play in a Division I program. You want to be under the lights. You want to be, playing in those big time games. So there is going to be a little bit more juice at the end of the day. Coming into game day and throughout the week, even though we didn't have the outcome we wanted last week, we're trying to forget about that and push through.
How much excitement is there over waiting for the offense to click? Because, Air Force always gets it going at
Right.
some point. Are you just kind of waiting for that moment to kind of experience that?
Yeah. So definitely a lot of these guys, like I said, a lot of inexperience. But, we've all been practicing together for the past 3 years now. So we all know it's coming. It may take a little bit longer than some people would have thought, but that's just part of it. That's every team has ups and downs, and so yeah.
Quinn, what's your journey been like?
Yeah.
You said that you traveled a little bit as a freshman. Just tell us your journey a little bit.
Yeah. So obviously, freshman year is kind of the same for a lot of guys. Not getting to play as much, being kind of putting that scout team role. But for me, the sophomore year was definitely huge. Got to kind of put myself out there a little bit. There were some injuries last year with Jared Rosnos and Brandon Ingle was out for a couple games. So, being able to step up and get put in that role, kind of gain trust in my coaches and my players and my brothers right beside me. So definitely helped put me in the position that I'm in right now, to be able to, be in that starting position, be in that starting rotation and contribute to the game. And even last game, being able to, get the ball in my hands a couple times and, do what I can to, help the success of the team. So, it's been really exciting.
Do you feel like all that hard work is starting to pay off with that success?
Definitely, yeah. It's been, like I said, it's been a grind. Obviously academy life is difficult, and, managing your schedule and, your academics and military and all that stuff. But it's definitely paid off, and, I'm seeing the results of that, so.
How important do you think continuity within the lineup is going to be to getting things on track? And if that's an issue, like how competitive are things still? Because obviously the lineup is still in flux, particularly your spot with so
Right.
many guys still injured and whatnot. Like how has that kind of changed the tone down there with that kind of position competition?
So, we faced a lot of injuries, in the past. Last year, Zach was in and out, and we saw a lot of the effects of that. So we're trying our best to, get those guys that maybe don't have as much experience or maybe in that second, third string spot. Hey, let's get you some reps early on just so you're prepared, just so, in case these things were to happen, so we get more injuries in certain positions. We're able to fill those roles a lot easier and not put ourselves in that position that we were in last year. We fell behind, So in my position especially, we're rotating guys constantly. We're getting those younger guys looks. Whereas, maybe a couple years ago, those guys were never getting reps. Now we're trying to incorporate, getting the freshmen, the sophomores, and all-inclusive kind of situation, yeah.
Speaking of last year, do you see some similarities to the struggles early last year? I think back to the Sam Houston State game. There wasn't much offense in that, and that was
Right.
game 2.
Right.
Then things got going. Like, as you're in the meeting rooms, do you see any of the same issues creeping up?
Sam Houston, they had a good team. Obviously, we didn't have a lot of production in the run game. That kind of shut us down, and that's our bread and butter. So I can kind of see some similarities, yeah, but like at the end of the day, it's a brand new team. We've got a lot of different individuals, a lot of guys stepping up, new quarterbacks, fullbacks, linemen. So it's a different situation. It's kind of hard to compare, but I do see some similarities. Yes, sir.
You personally, what are your goals for this season?
So some of my goals obviously is to first and foremost help the team out in any way that I can. For me, whether that's, being dominant on the perimeter, the run game, doing what I can, catching the ball, being 100% on catchable balls every game is something I strive to do. Whether or not that happens, it is what it is. But, yeah, at the end of the day, just being able to do my job and then, scoring touchdowns, obviously. I've worked pretty hard for these last 2 years, and that's like the pinnacle for a receiver at Air Force is, getting that big 70, 80-yard bomb for a touchdown. So, yeah.
What's your major? What do you
Management.
Management?
Yeah.
How's John been in the locker room and just with everything?
I think from day one, not even, just this season, clearly, he's been a focal point of the offense. He's been a leader. He continues to be vocal. Last game, he's up and down the sideline, keeping us going, keeping us in it. Even though a lot of us, hang our heads, he's the first person to, pick us up. I think everybody looks up to him, sees him as an example. So, it's important for him to convey, how much trust he has in us, so that we can, show how much trust we have in him. Yeah.
Coach Calhoun was talking about the heat, but also saying that a lot of, what you expect this week, but a lot of you being from the South
Right.
probably won't be impacted. How long has it been since you've, done something in 95-degree?
It gets pretty hot out here. The humidity, obviously the big factor. I'm from Georgia, so played a lot of high school football in 90-plus degree weather, super high humidity. So, I think the majority of us will be fine. I'm trying to think of, last time we played. We played in Houston. Obviously, it was indoors, so didn't really have much effect there. But I think we'll be well conditioned. We get plenty of reps, and the altitude is a workout every day. Just walking to class and back. So yeah.
And as a recruit, kind of what were your offers you were fielding?
So as a recruit, I think I had like 2 offers. So I got offered by Air Force my junior year, and I had offers to like Gardner Webb, getting looked at by Navy. I had some interest at Duke. They were recruiting me for, on the defensive side of the ball, but yeah, those things ended up not working out. And, as soon as Air Force offered me, I kind of looked deeper into it. My dad was in the military, history throughout my family in the military, sisters in the Air Force. So I was kind of familiar with it. And when I came here, it kind of just locked it in for me. I love the place. I love the challenge, first and foremost. And, at the end of the day, it was just what's going to give me the best opportunity to grow as an individual, to grow as a football player, and then that's going to help me, excel throughout the rest of my life. So,
you talked about John's leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Has he been kind of vocal this week, like, hey, we're going to get this thing rolling? Is there been any, like, team meetings without coaches?
Yeah. So, we had an offensive meeting just yesterday, and basically just trying to come together and, answer questions for the team about, what is it that we need to fix? What is it that, we see as the key points to success, whether that's, accountability, leadership, whether it's individually, in your position group, on the whole offensive side of the ball, or as a team in general. And obviously we have a lot of defensive leaders, guys that step up and are vocal. So we're definitely trying to kind of match that energy with the offensive side of the ball. So yeah.
And then, like, my final question for you, in your eyes, what do you think's going wrong with the passing game? Is it a little bit of protection? Is it a little bit of timing? Is it a little bit of routes? Is it all those things? In your eyes, what do you think's going wrong?
I think it's kind of a mix of things. I think obviously it starts with the line, right? That's the core of our offense, and if our quarterback's not getting enough time in the pocket, he doesn't really have that presence back there to be able to make a good and accurate throw. It starts with that, but also, being in the pocket, having composure, and being able to know, like, okay, I'm going to give it to my guy and he's going to make a play. But yeah, just all that stuff is just ties into, putting me in a position that is going to help the team succeed. And, everybody plays their part, and we talk about, winning each individual person's one-on-ones. Like, if 9 of the 11 people do their job, that's not going to cut it. We got to have every single person doing their job, and that's ultimately going to lead to better results for the offense. So.
That interception, how'd that feel?
It's a surreal feeling. First win ever in my college career, so yeah, I was pretty excited. And just like to thank God for that.
You're a senior, bro.
Yes, sir.
Do you feel like all that hard work the last 3 years has led up to
Oh, most definitely. Just try my best to do what coach tells me to do, and just playing with the fire that they need me to have, and just making plays when needed. So, yes, sir.
How you doing, Jerome?
Good.
How much are you looking forward to playing a school like Baylor, coming from a Power 5 conference?
Yeah, Baylor's a pretty stout organization. Being from Texas, I always heard about Baylor. Even had an alumni from my high school, RG3, coming from my school. So I'm pretty excited to play him. And yeah, ready to get to it.
Was that like a school I don't know how close where you grew up to there, but was that like a school you would watch, pay attention to, and maybe even wanted to maybe play for, or?
Most definitely. It's like an hour away from my house. So it was definitely something to, think about, but, just didn't go that way.
Wow. So RG3 went to your school,
Yes,
and
sir.
you lived an hour away. I mean, Baylor. How excited were you to see that Baylor was on Air Force's schedule?
Pretty stoked. Yeah, just happy to have family come out, family, church family, friends to come out too. So, yeah, I'm just really looking forward to seeing them and just playing out there.
So he would have been several years ahead of you in school, RG. Did he ever come back and talk to the team or anything while you were there?
Unfortunately, no. But just having him, represent our high school with what he's done and what he's doing currently it's enough for us.
So how many tickets did you have to get this week if you're from that close?
I kept it small, so I just had my, close family, mom, dad, brother, and everyone else was just willing to pay. So, but if they do need some tickets, in the next couple of days, then I'll get it for them.
How's the confidence of the defense? I mean, you guys have obviously done your job. What's kind of the mood in the room right now?
Just trying to hold that standard that we've had for the past couple years. We notice, we're needed to play a great game on defense, so we try to live up to that.
Have you always played corner?
I've not. I played safety the first 2 years coming in and at the prep school as well, and it's just how the cards were dealt. Just moved to corner and just adjusted from there.
Do you feel like your height, your skill set kind of fits a cornerback better than safety?
I feel like either or I would have been fine. Definitely my height is something that distinguishes me at corner. So I just try to use that to the best of my ability.
How do you try to use that?
Just covering ground as much as I can. I feel like that's a great way to utilize my height.
As a recruit, what was kind of the best offer you fielded other than Air Force? What was that process?
Yeah, I only had 2 offers. I had Navy and Air Force, and I don't like swimming, so I chose Air Force. So, yeah.
As a Texas guy, was that disappointing? Because so many schools around, and did you want one of those?
I just trusted in God. I was a little discouraged here and there going into my senior year with only a few offers, but it was just my time to just fall back on the Lord and just trust the plan. So.
Did you have friends who ended up at Baylor that you'll see Saturday?
No, but I had a guy I played against, Monterey Baldwin. He played for Shoemaker, and I played him a couple of times and seen him up there at Baylor. It's good to see.
Cool. And in terms of playing in the Texas Heat, obviously you were used to that in high school. Do you think it's going to be an easy adjustment to go back to it?
During the summer, I was working out, and I seemed pretty fine, so I don't think that'll be any factor.